Hippocrates, the father of medicine, 400 years BC, no mention of diabetes in his writings. He said, the first week, if I got a blood sugar level low in the middle of the night, I had some candies in my bag, I'd just take a candy. He said it'd get the blood sugar level up, but he said I'd get a terrible headache. But it got my blood sugar level up. He said the second week, I was feeling a bit guilty that I shouldn't be doing that. So he said, if I got a blood sugar level low in the middle of the night, I'd eat an apple. It takes a long time to eat an apple in the middle of the night, doesn't it? The third week, he did something else. He said the third week, if he got a blood sugar level low, he'd jump on the floor and do 30 push-ups. So when Dan did 30 push-ups, it caused a release of these glycogen stores that gave him energy, got the blood sugar level up.
And shocking truths about wheat, blood sugar, and diabetes. A simple diet shift can change your health. Did you know that the wheat in your bread can spike your blood sugar faster than pure sugar? Dr. Barbra shares hidden truths about how our everyday foods may be driving the diabetes crisis and how simple changes can help you reclaim your health. In this video, Dr. Barbra shares how our daily habits and unhealthy foods are secretly harming our health and causing diabetes to rise. She explains how small changes in what we eat can make a big difference, from the role of the pancreas to how processed wheat affects our bodies. You'll learn about low-sugar foods, the benefits of ancient grains, and how simple lifestyle changes can even reverse diabetes in some cases. Stick with us and watch the full video. But before moving on, let's hear an amazing story about a diabetic patient who made an historic comeback from his serious condition. Bobby's unbelievable recovery journey.
But I want to tell you about Bobby. Bobby's story is remarkable. He's also type 1 diabetic. And he came to the retreat when we were in Alabama, and it was probably 5 years ago now. And he came, he's 62, they wheeled him in a wheelchair. They'd recently taken the lymph nodes out of his groin to try and determine why he had diabetes. I don't quite understand that. But when he flew to us from Florida, being up in the plane, his legs had swollen because his lymph nodes were gone. That's why he was in a wheelchair. He's not usually in a wheelchair. He said, the doctors have told me last month they can do no more for me. He was on medication. He was on 90 units of insulin a day. That's short and long acting. He was on blood pressure, blood cholesterol, blood thinning. He said, I will not be able to exercise with the other guests. Look at my legs. I said, that's right. But I said, what I want you to do is every hour, I want you to get on the trampoline or the little mini rebounder and just go like this. Because that fluid is lymphatic fluid. And when you are on the rebound, it directly stimulates your lymphatic system. I said, every hour, just one minute like that. That's all you need to do. And I want you to walk barefoot on the grass to massage those feet. I said, I don't want you to go on the walks with the other guests, the legs. Within 24 hours, the legs had come down by half. He did the 2 days on juicing. Blood glucose levels were starting to come down. At the end of 2 weeks, now he was diligent in this to the point where he'd sit next to me and say, am I right? Have I got the right amount of fruit on this plate? He said to me, anything you tell me to do, I will do. So at the end of 2 weeks, he was down to 10 units of insulin a day. That's from 90 units of insulin, type 1 diabetic. Implementing this. He emailed me 3 months later, off all medication.
So, did you watch it? Even a serious diabetic patient like Bobby, who was on multiple medications, made an incredible comeback. Through simple lifestyle changes like rebounding, walking barefoot, and using some healthy juices, his swelling reduced dramatically within just 24 hours. In 2 weeks, his insulin use significantly decreased, and within 3 months, he was off all medications and had also lost a substantial amount of weight. If Bobby can do it, why don't you take the first step toward transforming your health? Understanding diabetes and the role of insulin. Diabetes occurs when the body can't manage blood sugar properly. either due to a lack of insulin or the inability to use it effectively. Insulin is a hormone that controls blood sugar levels. Without enough insulin, sugar builds up, causing health problems. Poor diets, inactivity, and genetics are making diabetes more common today. But why are we struggling with diabetes more than ever today?
Working. Now, the pancreas's, one of its main roles is to release two hormones. One is insulin, that gets the blood sugar down. The other hormone is glucagon, and that gets the blood sugar level up. Now, the meal that you had tonight, because it's high in fibre, I think everything had fibre, generous proteins, there's your legumes and some great fats, it gives a slow, sure, steady release of glucose, of nutrients. And that allows the pancreas to just release the insulin as it's needed. That's what every cell in the body wants, and that's what our pancreas wants. But what's happening today is people predominantly are eating a high carbohydrate diet. And this high carbohydrate diet releases a lot of glucose. And that glucose, when it gets into the blood, especially the refined sugar...
Understanding the role of the pancreas. So, did you know that the pancreas plays a key role in regulating blood sugar? It releases two hormones, insulin, which lowers blood sugar, and glucagon, which raises it. South A balanced meal, like the one you just had, rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats, promotes a steady release of glucose into the blood. This allows the pancreas to release insulin as needed, keeping everything in check. But in today's world, many people eat a lot of carbs, especially foods with refined sugars and grains. This causes blood sugar levels to rise quickly, which puts stress on the pancreas. You won't believe it, but there's one thing more dangerous than sugar, and that's wheat. Yes, it is true. But how and which type of wheat is a silent killer?
Sugar. And by the way, the refined grains, it's almost as high as sugar. But there is one grain that gets the blood sugar levels higher than refined sugar. Is that a surprise? And the grain that does that is what? Bread and cereal and pasta and cakes, etc., and pizza are all made out of predominantly one grain. What's that one grain? It's wheat. Now, in the 1950s, wheat went through intensive crossbreeding. And the reason they put it through intensive crossbreeding is they wanted to create a plant with a high yield of grain, so that would help with the starvation crisis in Africa, in Mexico, in India. And eventually, Dr. Norman Boullag got a Nobel Prize for his hybridized wheat. At first, the stalk broke before the grain was fully ripe, because wheat used to grow that high. Do you remember that? We had a 25-year-old wheat farmer come to our retreat. He'd never heard of such a thing. He didn't know that wheat used to grow that high. And so they went back to the drawing board and they came up with a wheat that only grows this high. I was in Holland, probably a month ago now, and we're driving along, it's very, very flat, and I saw big fields of sandy-coloured grass. I said, what is it? It's everywhere. They said it's wheat. It was only that high. So it had only to be that high with a thick stem, because some wheats are producing 8 to 10 times the grain that they originally produced. So in the 1970s, the wheat started to go worldwide. So by the 1990s, every bread, cereal, pasta, cake, etc., pizza, all made out of this hybridized wheat.
What is hybridized wheat, and how is it more dangerous than sugar? Hybridized wheat, found in foods like bread, pasta, cakes, and pizza, was created in the 1950s to produce more grain and help fight hunger. Scientists crossbred different wheat types to make it grow faster, with higher yields and stronger plants. By the 1990s, this wheat was everywhere. But why is this hybridized wheat so much more harmful to our health?
Now, what it produced was a type of such starch structure that gets the blood sugar level up higher than even sugar. So the starch structure that was created is called amylopectin A. And amylopectin A is the name of the starch that was produced. So let's look at what it does. We'll do it up here. It gets the blood sugar level up very high, very fast. So then you get a corresponding dump. So that's the A. So let me give you something to compare it to. Amylopectin B. Amylopectin B is found in bananas and potatoes. And if you're familiar with the glycemic index of food, bananas and potatoes, they're high on the glycemic index, so they get the blood sugar level up relatively high, relatively fast. Not as high and not as fast, so it's more like that. So that's your B. Amylopectin C is found in all your beans. There's your lentils, chickpeas, lima beans, cannellini beans, kidney beans. So
how does hybridized wheat affect blood sugar? The hybridized wheat produced a type of starch called amylopectin A, which raises blood sugar levels much faster than sugar itself. This rapid spike in blood sugar is followed by a crash, which can be harmful to the body.
Glycemic index is an index or a reading on how quickly the glucose in that food is released into the blood. So your baseline is 55. So all your berries sit at about 26. Grapefruit, it sits at 25. So for the diabetic, these are good fruits because they're low GI. They're a lovely, slower delivery of fuel. Whereas bananas, they sit up here somewhere. So where does sugar sit? Sugar sits at 59. Where does white bread, white pasta, white cereal, it sits at 69 because of the amylopectin starch in it. What about whole wheat? Whole wheat bread, whole wheat cereal, it sits at 72. How could that be? Well, because the whole wheat isn't refined, it's got more amylopectin A in it. And it's the amylopectin A that gets the blood sugar level up. Now, absolutely, whole wheat bread is superior to white because it's got fibre, it's got your B vitamins. But in regard to the diabetic, who's watching their blood glucose levels, they need to eliminate wheat. Totally. I had one lady start to cry when she saw this. I said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "I'm a diabetic. I'm type 2 diabetic." She said, "I was diagnosed 2 years ago. I do everything they tell me. I eat wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta, wholemeal cereal." And she said, "And every 6 months I go to the doctor and he puts me on more insulin." She said, "I'm not like the lady down the road. She just eats cakes and candies but I don't do that." She said, "I'm crying because I've been so frustrated, but I have not known what to do." So why aren't the nutritionists told this? How much wheat does America grow? Acres of it. How much wheat does Australia grow? A lot. So it's big industry. So it's not an easy thing to change. And the farmers love the hybridized wheat. They've got to pay their bills. 10 times more grain per acre, that's 10 times more dollars per acre. So you see the problem.
Glycemic index and its impact on diabetes and how Dr. Barbra exposed the billion-dollar wheat industry. The glycemic index, GI, measures how quickly food raises blood sugar. Low GI foods like berries and grapefruit are better for diabetics. Foods like white bread and pasta have a high GI because of a starch called amylopectin A, which spikes blood sugar quickly. Even whole wheat products have a high GI, so diabetics should avoid them. The rise in diabetes is linked not just to sugar, but also to the wheat in many foods. How simple food swaps can help manage diabetes. 1 easy food choices to lower blood sugar. Making small changes in your diet can make a huge difference in managing blood sugar levels. Instead of reaching for a banana at breakfast, try some berries. Choose sweet potatoes over regular potatoes and go for whole grains while cutting out wheat. These simple swaps help you maintain a healthy glycemic index and keep your energy steady throughout the day. 2. The power of legumes for blood sugar control. Incorporating legumes into your daily diet can help prevent diabetes. Legumes provide a steady fuel supply for your body. To avoid discomfort like bloating, soak them overnight, rinse well, and cook them slowly. Start small and gradually increase the amount if beans upset your stomach. 3. The foods to avoid for better health. If you're working to manage diabetes, there are some foods to avoid, including refined sugars and wheat. Even healthy sugars like maple syrup and honey should be cut out in the beginning to allow the pancreas time to heal. Caffeine should also be avoided, as it can trigger an insulin response. 4. A holistic approach to healing. Exercise plays a vital role in managing diabetes. High-intensity interval training, HIIT, can help regulate blood sugar by boosting glycogen stores in your muscles. When your blood sugar drops, exercise helps release stored energy and balance your glucose levels naturally. This process, known as glycogen release, is the diabetic's best-kept secret. Exercise not only burns fat, but also helps the body become more sensitive to insulin. As you work out, new insulin receptor sites form on your cells, allowing your body to process glucose more effectively. 5. How stress on the pancreas leads to diabetes. Eating too many carbs and sugary foods can stress your pancreas. The pancreas helps control blood sugar by releasing insulin, but if it gets overworked, it can stop working well, causing insulin resistance. Simple food changes, exercise, and understanding how your body processes glucose can prevent this and help manage diabetes more effectively. 6. Ancient grains, a healthier alternative to modern wheat. Switching from modern wheat to ancient grains like spelt or kamut can offer more nutritious bread options. These grains haven't been hybridized and are easier for the body to process. By choosing ancient grains, you can enjoy bread without the spike in blood sugar caused by modern wheat. Managing diabetes doesn't have to be complicated. By making simple food swaps, eating more legumes, avoiding refined sugars, exercising regularly, and choosing ancient grains, you can take control of your health and improve your blood sugar levels. It's all about making the right choices, one meal at a time. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and stay healthy.